Hello everybody, this is Pilar Mendez and I will talk about Ernest Hemingway's life. Ernest Hemingway was born on July 21, 1890 in Cicero, now is Oak Park, Illinois. Clarence and Grace Hemingway raised their son in the conservative suburb of Chicago, but the family also spent a great deal of time in North Michigan, where they had a cabin. It was there that the future sportsman learned to hunt, fish, and appreciate the outdoors. In high school, Hemingway worked on his school newspaper, Trapeze and Tabula, writing primarily about sports. Immediately after graduation, the budding journalist went to work for the Kansas City Star, gaining the experience that would later influence his distinctively stripped-down prose style. In 1918, Hemingway went to overseas to serve in the World War I as an ambulance driver in the Italy Army. For his service, he was awarded the Italian Silver Medal of Bravery, but soon sustained injuries that landed him in a hospital in Milan. There he met a nurse named Agnes von Kurowski, who soon accepted his proposal of marriage, but later left him for another man. This devastated the young writer for provide fodder for his works, a very short story, and more famously, a farewell to army. Still nursing his injury and recovering from the brutalities of war at the young age of 20, he returned to the United States and spent time in the North Michigan, where taking a job at the Toronto Star. It was in Chicago that Hemingway met Hallie Richardson, the woman who became his first wife. The couple married and quickly moved to Paris, where Hemingway worked as foreign correspondent for the Star. In Paris, Hemingway soon became key part of the Gertrude Stein. Hemingway made the acquaintance of many of the great writers and artists of his generation, F. Scott Fitzgerald between them. In 1923, Hemingway and Hallie had a son, John Hadley Nicholl Hemingway. By this name, the great had also begun frequently the famous festival of San Fermin in Pamplona, Spain. In 1925, the couple joined a group of British and American expatriates, took a trip to the festival that would later provide the basis of Hemingway's first novel, The Sun Also Rises. The novel is widely considered Hemingway's greatest work, artfully examining the post-war disillusionment of his generation. Soon after the publication of The Sun Also Rises, Hemingway and Hadley divorced, due the part of his affair with a woman named Pauline Pfeiffer, who will become Hemingway's second wife shortly after his divorce from Hadley was finalized. The author continued to work on his book of short stories, Men Without Women. Soon, Pauline became pregnant, and the couple decided to move back to America. After the birth of son Patrick Hemingway in 1928, they settled in Key West, Florida, but summered in Wyoming. Hemingway finishes his celebrated World War I novel, A Farewell to Arms, securing his lasting place in the literary canon. When he wasn't writing, Hemingway spent much of the 1930s chasing adventure, big game hunting in Africa, bullfighting in Spain, and deep-sea fishing in Florida. While reporting on Spain's Civil War in 1937, Hemingway met a fellow war correspondent named Martha Gellhorn, soon to become wife number 3, and gathering material for his next novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls, which would eventually be nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. Almost predictably, his marriage of Pfeiffer terminated in a couple divorce. Gellhorn and Hemingway married soon and purchased a farm near Havana, Cuba, which will serve as their winter residence. Then the United States entered World War II. In 1941, Hemingway served as a correspondent and was present at several of the war case moments, including the D-Day landing. Toward the end of the war, Hemingway met another war correspondent, Mary Wells, who he would later marry after divorcing Gellhorn. In 1951, Hemingway wrote The Old Man and Sea, which would become perhaps his most famous book, finally winning him the Pulitzer Prize he had long been denied. The author continued his forays into Africa and sustaining several injuries during his adventures, even surviving multiple plane crashes. In 1954, he won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Even at the peak of the literary career, thought the brilliant Hemingway's body and mind were beginning to betray him. Recovering from various old injuries in Cuba, Hemingway suffered from depression and was treated for numerous conditions such as high blood pressure and liver disease. In August 2018, a 62-year-old short story by Hemingway, A Room on the Garden Side, was published for the first time in the Strand magazine, set in Paris shortly after the liberation of the city from Nazi forces in 1944. The story was one of the 5 composed by the writer in 1956 about the World War II experiences. It became the second story from the series to earn posthumous publications, following Black Ass at the Crossroad. In 1960, Hemingway had left Cuba and settled in Ketchup, Idaho, where he wrote A Mobile Feast, a memoir of his year in Paris. He tried to lead his wife and do his work as before. For a while, his success but anxiety, ridden and depressed. He was twice hospitalized at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where he received electroshock treatments. 2 days after he returned to home in Ketchum, he took his wife and a shotgun in his home. In July 2, 1961. A fun fact: you know that Ernest Hemingway checked out F. Scott Fitzgerald pennies in the men's room? Thank you for listening and good quarantine.